Support for Domestic Draft is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. 20% off free worldwide shipping with the code DomesticDraft at manscaped.com. Again, that's one word, DomesticDraft at manscaped.com. Now, it's not always easy trimming up your goods, but the Performance Package 4.0 has arrived. And man, is this thing a game changer. Inside the package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag all in one. Man, it's a huge kind of package that they give you, everything that you need to kind of take care of yourself there. The Lawnmower 4.0 is the greatest ball trimmer ever. The 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And because the trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess in the bathroom floor. You want to take your grooming game even further? The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and hairs trimmer. I know as we keep getting older, those nose and ear hairs just keep growing, and you got to take care of them. Something you didn't think you have to do, but you got to do it. So go ahead and get this Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer as well. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes. Their Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. Trust me when I say this, your balls will thank you. It's time to take care of yourself, and so go to manscaped.com and use our code to get 20% off free shipping and worldwide shipping as well. That's 20% off using our code, one word, Domestic Draft at manscaped.com. Again, 20% off free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code Domestic Draft. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
All right. Welcome to the Domestic Draft Podcast. I'm Evan Bierman here with Dan Slowick. Today on the show, we're going to be talking the Bears, the big game, and catch up on the Bulls a little bit, too. The season's been kicking off here, about 12 games in, I think. So a little bit to talk about with the Bulls as well, Dan. But first, you had a big trip up to Seattle this weekend. I want to hear how that went, and I also want to hear what you're drinking.
Yeah, it was a quick trip. I was just there for the weekend and did most travel Friday and Sunday, so pretty much just there Saturday. Seattle's cool. First time being there. Got blessed with great weather, although we did try to go hiking about an hour north and ran in the snow, so we turned around and just stayed near Seattle. But went to the Pike Place Market, open air market there. It's pretty cool, very famous. And then behind it,
the fish around.
Yeah, definitely saw the guys tossing the fish around. And right behind it, there's a brewery. So, I had to go kind of check that out. It's called Old Stove Brewery. And I was really enjoying their fresh hops and learned a little bit more, right? Fresh hops are if you harvest your hops and you brew within 24 hours. And Washington State, I believe, grows around 75% of hops that most breweries use here in the United States. So it's very easy for Washington State breweries to do this fresh hop brew. And they had one with a hop that is yet to be named yet. So it was like fresh hop HBC 580 or something, because these farmers are like crossbreeding the hops and trying to see if something's better or different, and then you get to name it after they kind of continue to use it. So this one's still in development, but the beer was great. Seattle was great. And you also this last weekend did some beer activities as well. You went to a festival in Chicago, right?
Yeah, the Faux Bob Festival, that, if you're not familiar, is the Festival of Wood and Barrel Aged Brewing. So that was at the Credit Union 1 arena on UIC's campus. Very nice little stadium there. And I was on the floor of the basketball court. So that was very cool.
Looked
actually
packed. I saw some photos.
Yeah. So a lot of different breweries there. I think there was about 150, bunch of different categories. And, it's likened to, some of the other big beer festivals around the country.
Beer Fest, all that stuff.
Yeah. Just winning an award there is just as important almost as some of those other festivals. So there were some Chicago breweries that did pretty well. I was happy with that. And then also some California breweries too. And, the one I wanted to bring up was the Lost Abbey from San Marcos. That was one that you said you've had beer from them before.
Yeah, we've highlighted them on the show before. Yep.
Yeah, they actually won Best of Show for their Duck Duck Goose anniversary blend. So if you see that anywhere, pick one of those up, because that was the Best of Show at Faux Bob this year. Our Yeah, so it was really fun. That was really, really cool. If you ever get a chance to go, Goose Island had a massive spread. It was right outside the stadium. Actually, you go outside, they have like an L train that they turned into,
I saw.
taps and
Yep,
stuff.
yep, yep.
So that was very cool. So yeah, highly recommend if you ever get the chance to go to Fobob, check it out. But what are you drinking today, Dan?
I have Maui Brewing Company, not a San Diego brewery, but kind of, sorta, and I'll tell you why. But the beer I'm drinking right now is a sour. It's a kettle sour. It's called Land of Rainbows. It's a 3.8 untapped. It's a hazy. It's a kettle sour, like I said, hazy and pale with wine-like esters, and it's a tart, fruity flavor. I'm drinking it. It's very smooth. Nothing really lingering on the palate. I know some sours kind of leave a weird taste in your mouth afterwards. Not as like crunch your nose up sour either. It's just very smooth, very easy. It's 5.5%. But let me get back to my brewery and how I kind of said it might kind of sort of be a San Diego brewery. Well, one of the major ones here, Modern Times, uh, went up for sale. Their CEO resigned. He had a bunch of allegations of mistreatment of employees and discrimination, so he stepped down. Somebody took over the company. It became employee owned, and then they decided to sell it. And it was supposed to be brought by Brewery X, which is up in Anaheim, but they backed out. And Maui Brewing was the second highest bidder, I believe. So they acquired Modern Times for $15.3 million, which is twice as much as their initial bid. But they're going to combine breweries. I was trying to see if they're going to take over the namesake or they're going to keep Modern Times. There's no news on that. You could still buy Modern Times all over the place in San Diego. So I'm wondering if they're just going to keep the tap rooms that they have here. They got a really big, cool one by our little stadium here in Sports Arena, and kind of keep it going. But I thought that was a cool little tie-in. The sour is good as well, 3.8 on a tap, like I said, 5.5%. Good little beer, not for the winter weathers that you're approaching. So I'm curious. I'm curious. What are you drinking?
Yeah, I drank all those stouts this weekend and, sipping on 15% beers for about 4 hours. That'll get you. So I'm kicking it back to
Sneak up on you, huh?
to a hazy pale ale. I've got Triptych Brewing. It's out of Savoy, Illinois. If you're not familiar with Savoy, it's down just south of Champaign. I had some friends there turn me on to this beer. It's called Dank Meme.
Nice.
It's a hazy pale ale. It gets 3.97 on Untappd, so great score, and it's 5.4%. Triptych Brewing, they began in a home brewer's garage, like many, breweries do, but they actually started as a Kickstarter project. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They had about a little over 200 people that backed them, pledged, $25,000 to help kick that project off. Their goal was actually 20,000, so they outdid it, and the community really wanted that brewery to start up. And now they're owned by four different families: the Benjamins, the Allstetters, the Voigtlanders, and the Amekers. So they run that brewery, and they're doing pretty well. They got some great beer. Dank Meme. Pick
Solid.
this up if you see it anywhere. This is a fantastic hazy pale ale. Speaking of fantastic, we're gonna kick it over to our Bears, and we're gonna start there, Dan. I mean, this was a huge game. The Bears lost, but I don't think anybody cares. 35-32 to Miami. Miami
Mhm.
is a great team. They just traded for Bradley Chubb too, so you think they're coming in with a defense, a new stud on the defensive line, and Justin Fields just tore him up. 178 rushing yards. It's a new single game rushing record for a quarterback, and they kept up with Miami the whole way. I mean, I was
Mhm.
surprised, just consistently surprised throughout the whole game. Cole Kmet finally had a huge game, 2 touchdowns. Chase, we got to see a little bit of Chase Claypool. He didn't, make a big impact, but I think just him being out there drew a little attention away.
Exactly.
Darnell Mooney looked good.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, what you thought of this game and what your expectations are for the rest of the season here.
Yeah, this is the Justin Fields has arrived game. I think all of Chicago doesn't care really how the rest of the season goes if Justin Fields continues to play like he is. It feels good. We've never had a quarterback who is this electric, that can just go out and produce all of these points, that can do it on the ground, can do it in the air. It's a lot of fun to watch. Like, you have confidence going into every week that you're going to be able to score. And it used to be so scary going into big matchups, knowing that we couldn't put the ball into the end zone. But now we have no problem doing that. We just can't stop teams. But I think the whole entire tone of Chicago right now is very happy. I think most Bears fans are really enjoying this new look Chicago Bears, an offensive minded Chicago Bears. Luke Getsy, Justin Fields seem to have found like something that works really, really well. They'll probably have to adjust here and there as teams start catching on, but as of right now, they're breaking records. So it's fun to watch. And you said Claypool really didn't have an impact, but I would argue against it, right? Just being out there, like you kind of mentioned, is his biggest impact. Mooney had his first touchdown. Is that a coincidence, or is it a direct result of Claypool drawing more coverage and maybe the better corners? Kmet having two as well. Is that his confidence is up with his old college teammate from Notre Dame? He's more comfortable. Does that have something to do with it? I don't know, but I think it's great. It's fun to watch. Every week I'm going in there just like wanting to watch Justin Fields. I don't care how the defense plays. I think that's something we figure out in the offseason that we've talked about. We have kind of faith. Hopefully Ryan Poles can figure that one out. But man, it feels good having Justin Fields behind center, man.
Yeah. And I think, Equanimeous St. Brown dropping that ball at the end of the game too. A lot of people are blaming
right
that.
through his hands, man.
And I think to bring that back to Claypool and the attention that he draws, there was no attention to Equanimeous St. Brown before Claypool arrived because he's not a professional receiver. He's not somebody that should be out there, to be honest with you. He's a role player, a few plays a game kind of player. And now you have Claypool who can go out there and draw a little attention. So yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch the rest of the season. And the other thing I want to talk about is I was at Paradise Park. I was at a bar watching the game, and they had the Packers game on right next to the Bears game. So you're seeing Justin Fields rip off these long runs. Bears are looking good. They're scoring points. And then you look over, 2 feet to your right, and Aaron Rodgers is in the red zone throwing an interception. And then he's in the red zone again, throwing another little interception. And it was just the best thing ever watching the Packers get destroyed, honestly, by a Lions team that is just frankly one of the worst teams in the NFL after trading away TJ Hawkinson. And you can just tell that team is just done. And, the Packers are in turmoil. So it's great to see the Bears on the up and up and the Packers, on the decline. Yeah. I'd love to see it.
Got a question for you then. I'm going to give you some players, some quarterbacks, and here's the scenario. End of the season, you could trade him straight up. Justin Fields for another quarterback.
Okay.
Would you trade him straight up for Lamar Jackson?
I think I would. I think there's more proven success with Lamar Jackson. I think I'd rather have Lamar Jackson right now.
Would you trade him straight up for Josh Allen?
Oh, yeah.
Joe Burrow?
Ooh. Yeah. I'd rather have Burrow.
Deshaun Watson?
I think there's too much going on with Watson. I'd rather have Fields.
Russell Wilson?
I'd rather have Fields.
Future Hall of Famer. Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I'd rather have Fields than Lawrence too.
Pat Mahomes?
I'd rather have Mahomes.
Derek Carr?
Definitely not Carr.
Justin Herbert?
That one's tough because I feel like we haven't been able to see Justin Herbert this year with his weapons, but we've also seen Fields without weapons too. So I think I'm taking Herbert just based on what I saw last year.
Just saw him this last week. Tua?
I think I'd rather have Fields than Tua. I think Tua just has more around him right now.
Mac Jones?
Definitely not Mac Jones.
Zach Wilson?
Nope, definitely not Zach Wilson.
Kenny Pickett?
Absolutely would rather have Fields over Pickett.
Kyler Murray?
I think, man, I'm just not a Kyler guy. I think I'd rather have Fields than Kyler.
Dak Prescott?
That's a tough one too. That's a tough one. I think I'm taking Dak there.
Ooh, okay. Jared Goff?
Fields over Goff.
Aaron Rodgers next year, Bears uniform.
Oh, yeah. It's so hard to not say Rodgers because of how good he is, but he's at the end of his career. You're talking dynasty. I'd rather have Fields for sure.
Oof. Stafford won a Super Bowl last year.
Fields.
Kirk Cousins, accuracy. Kurt Thuggins.
I'd rather have Fields.
And Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think Hurts has looked really good. I think I'd rather have Hurts.
All right. And there's a couple other quarterbacks I just didn't bother to put on that
like
list.
Daniel Jones and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. But those were some quarterbacks I thought there might be. And you're saying you'd take 7. So right now, Justin Fields is, in your mind,
I think he's firmly in the
top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. I think
that feels good, doesn't it?
Long-term outlook, top 10, I would say 100%. Yeah, and when you're talking about somebody who just broke Michael Vick's record, who Michael Vick was a fantastic quarterback in the NFL, you know, I mean, the sky's the limit for Fields, really.
So with
Miami's
that
no
said,
slouch of a defense. It's not like the worst defense in the NFL or anything. He looked great.
what's your expectations then for the rest of the year? What do you think? Is this team going to win games? A lot of people on the radio today were talking, this team might start winning games. Playoffs might be an option. What do you think?
I think if we run into some tough defenses, like I said, Miami's not, I mean, they're not bad, but they're not great either. If we run into a team that has a good defense, our defense is not stopping anybody. With no Roquan there and Robert Quinn gone, I just think our defense is not going to stop anybody. And you saw that they gave up 35 points. Tyreek and Waddle were all over the field, and I just think we're gonna give up a lot of points. So I don't think they're gonna win too many more games this year, and I don't want them to. I want them to have a better pick because I still think we need a number one wide receiver. I like Claypool and I like Mooney as a 2 and a 3. Run 3 wide sets all next year. If we can get a number one type player, if we can get a top 10 wide receiver, then I think Justin Fields is going to have everything around him that he's going to need. So
Let's see.
I want them to have
Let's
a
go
bad pick.
through the schedule and see where you got them, because they're what, 3-5 right now, correct? 3-5, right?
3-6, I think.
3-6. They beat the 49ers, right? So that's one.
Yeah, 3-6.
3-6. Okay, 3-6. Here's the rest of this season. Let's go ahead and get your wins, losses.
Which the
here.
Vikings, the Vikings are 4 games up right now, 4.5 games up, and I don't think the Vikings have been, or any team's been that much up in the NFC North in like 20 years or something like that. It's pretty crazy.
Right.
The Vikings are way out front.
3-6 next week. Where do they go? They're playing the Lions. Win or lose?
Ooh, they'll beat the Lions, I think.
Okay, so we're 4-6. After that, they play the Falcons.
That's another one they could win too.
No, so they're 5-6. Interesting. Okay. And then they have the Jets.
The Jets are looking real good. They just beat the Bills.
So that's a loss.
Yeah.
5-7. Then they have the Packers.
I think they'll still lose the Packers. I think the Packers defense is good enough to hold them.
5-8. Eagles.
They're going to lose to the Eagles.
5-9. Bills.
They're going to lose to the Bills.
5-10. Lions.
I think they're going to beat the Lions both times. I do.
6-10. Vikings.
They'll lose to the Vikings.
All right. So you got them finishing 6-11 then. That's not
Sounds about right.
Team. That's
no.
What was their?
I think
Vegas had them at what, 5.5? I think at the start of the season. I think that was their line at the start of the season. God, how do they do it? How do they do it? Yeah, it's a fun team to watch though, right? Like, okay, 6-11, whatever. I think most Bears fans are just gonna enjoy the shit out of this season because it's watching football you've never really watched before as a Bears fan.
100%. I mean, and I love that they're making adjustments. They're making adjustments every single week. Getsy was getting a lot of shit for trying to keep Fields in the pocket so much. And then, the last couple of weeks, he's like, it just seems like he's like, all right, we're just going to play to his strengths and we're going to change this up and just do it a different way. And it's working. And he looks incredible. He looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Ooh, so there it is.
Yeah. Play to his strengths, do what you got to do. That's what the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson. They were not they didn't play this way before Lamar Jackson. They Joe Flacco. That guy couldn't run outside the pocket at all. So they totally changed their game. They're still on top over there. Like the Bears, they even said they took some plays from the Ravens too, some Lamar Jackson plays. Yeah, of course. Look at what Jalen Hurts is doing. Look what Lamar Jackson's doing. Look what Josh Allen's doing. Pat Mahomes looked really good running the ball the other day too. So grab some of those plays, implement them. Justin Fields can run them.
Let's do it.
I love what I'm seeing. So let's move over to the Bulls. Are you loving what you're seeing out of the Bulls, Dan? 6-6, 6 in the East.
No.
What do you think? No? Not what you expected?
No, I mean, it's kind of is what I expected. I'm just not, last season was like such a hype season, right? The kind of turning the whole franchise around, being competitive again. Whole city was like behind them. We had such a hot start. Lonzo was healthy and the team was so fun to watch. Now it's kind of like, the storylines have been Pat was struggling. Lonzo's still hurt. Zach's
Mhm.
playing every other game. It's just kind of been a weird season to watch. We're 500 with 6 in the East. There's just not a lot to like get excited about. I mean, I love watching Bulls games. Never will not love doing that.
Mhm.
But I think as a Bulls fan right now, the most exciting thing for me while watching this team is watching Pat Williams settle in. I know that you were wanting to trade him. Everyone was wanting to trade him. First couple games, even last year, everyone's like, get rid of him. He's not any good. Something happened like 4 games ago to where his whole like his demeanor kind of shifted. He started bullying people. I think he realized how humongous he is. I think he realized how strong he is. He's still having moments to where, right, a couple games ago, he took a three last second, game on the line, clanked it. Everyone's like, why are you shooting that? You shouldn't do that. He's missing
Mhm.
rebounds. He's growing, but I mean, his stats are up. He's scoring. He's participating. He's no longer playing hot potato with the basketball where, you know, you put it in his hands and he just gives it up right away. He's actually looking for a shot. He's still rushing, but I'm thinking, you know, if you're watching this team and you're kind of playing the long game and you're seeing him settle in, you're seeing him being a little bit of a solid contributor. I think you start to get excited for, you know, daydreaming of, all right, once Lonzo gets back, is maybe we have Lonzo off the bench and then that bench, like, you know, right away, just give him a couple minutes here and there. He's not playing full time. That bench unit is insane. You know, you'll have Drummond coming in, Javante Green, Goran Dragic, Caruso, Lonzo. Like
Are you
that's
saying
just,
you like Drummond or what?
yeah, I mean, he's been hurt, so I don't like him. Let's be clear. I don't like him.
What did he ever do to you, man?
He's done nothing to me. I still think he plays statistical basketball, not winning basketball. Like he puts up crazy numbers, and I
Mhm.
think he's aware of that while he's playing. Where he's like going out and trying to get, well, but also motivates him, right? Like he goes out and tries to get every single rebound, which is a cool thing. He just tries to do too much sometimes. When he gets his confidence going, you see him try to lead a fast break or you see him try to like basketball, you're like, dude, play your role, right? But no, with him on the bench, I think our bench is great. I really do. I think we got a really, really strong bench.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a good second unit center for sure at
the
this
thing
point.
with Zach though is weird, man. Like, what do you? I think
With the
it's
knee
him.
management,
Yeah, like it's just
I don't
he's
know.
missed like half the games basically. He put up 30 last night, but if you watch it, man, he's not an above the rim player anymore. He can't drive into the lane and like try to finish with a dunk. He literally drives into the lane and like powers down, draws contact, and then tries to like fade away layup off the backboard type thing. Like he's not explosive, which is scary. His knee doesn't look healthy. He looks like he did at the end of last year. I'm wondering if it's just his team and him are like, this is the first 20 games is kind of like training camp, get in shape, feel comfortable. Every other
Mhm.
game, maybe we'll play like, 12 games out of the first 20,
Mhm.
see where you're at. And they're kind of playing this game in quarters almost, or the season in quarters to see if he could be healthy come playoff time.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching the Bulls game 2 nights ago against the Raptors, and it was
Uh,
the end of the game. There's a couple minutes left, and the Bulls are just chuck. It was really ugly basketball, but it was pretty much a tied game, and the Bulls are just chucking threes, looking, exhausted, gassed. They just blew it. They just blew it. They had that. They could have won that game easily. So
yeah.
I'm not as optimistic about their prospects when some of these guys come back either. And Patrick Williams, the thing about Patrick Williams is if you look at his numbers on the whole for the season, they completely mirror his first and second year in the NBA. Still 9 points a game.
Well,
His blocks are
you can't
about.
do that. Yeah. I
But
mean,
I mean,
he
look,
didn't
we're
play
12
last
games
year.
in.
12
Last game
games was,
he played 17 games last year. It's the exact same stats. Literally rebounds four, uh, you know, assists 0.8, 0.9 last
yeah,
year.
but
It's
look
like
at his last like
9 points a game. It's
three,
all the
four
same.
games. Look at his last 3, 4 games and his usage and his points. I'm sure they're better than the average you're seeing. But you're right though. Like saying that it's the same, and then looking at this team, I took a look at some of their statistics today of like where they rank
Yeah.
among the 30 teams in the NBA. We're 18th in points. We're 21st in field goal percentage. The big thing that everyone talked about last year is 3-point shooting, right? We don't shoot a lot of them. Guess where we're at with the attempts? We're 28th out of 30. We're same, right? We're still
Hmm.
not shooting threes.
Yep.
We're making 23rd in the NBA as our 3-point made. Like it's a 3-point shooting league, and we're at the bottom of attempts and makes.
I know, and Pat's not contributing to that at all. I don't want to harp on him too much here, but there I've seen, like you're saying, like Pat's settling in. I'm just like, who's seeing that? Where are we getting that from? Because his point high was 4 games ago. He had 16 points.
Yeah.
That's the most points he scored all season so far.
Mhm.
He's getting to the line, looks like
I mean, if he scores
once a
16 a
game.
game, if he's scoring 16, that's great for us.
No, that's his season high.
Right,
He's
but it's
looking at
12
about not he's
games.
looking at 9 points a game right now,
He'll continually he'll get double digits, which I think
We need to see some 25s, some
yeah,
30s,
yeah.
you know,
No lie there. I mean,
top 5 pick,
you're
right?
right, but also if Zach and DeRozan and Vooch are all playing, those three are all playing, is he still able to get 25 a game? Will he have the touches?
He was great. He'd be commanding the ball. I just think if you're a great player, you're going to command the ball. You're going to score
No
25. You're
matter
going to score
what.
30. Look at what's that guy? Benedict Mathurin.
Mathurin.
Is
Yeah,
a
but
rookie.
that's
He's
different.
got like
That's so different. That's so
he's a
put
good player.
Patrick
Commanding the ball,
Williams
he's
on that
scoring.
team where he's the number one go-to scorer. Like that's the thing. Pat got drafted and he wasn't the number one. Some guys get drafted to shitty teams and they become the number one. They put up stats and everyone's like, oh, this guy's great. And then they go try to do it on a championship level and they're not able to. Some are, but
Scotty Barnes.
most are. Yeah, I mean, Scott's a
You know?
freak. He's a freak. He's real good as well. But also he was on that Raptors team when really it was just Fred VanVleet and Pascal, but Pascal was out for the year, so he had the whole year to kind of play and develop. Pat's whole developmental years, he was hurt, which is really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Anyways,
Yeah.
Bulls are 6-6. They're sixth in the East. They're kind of just middling. I think they're really waiting for Lonzo, and I think the whole entire fan base is waiting for Lonzo to see what that's going to be.
Is he going to come back? Do you think he comes back?
That's going to be a whole mess, man. That's going to be a Derrick Rose 2.0 where doctors clear him to return and he's not playing games and the media is asking him questions and his camp is saying he's not ready yet. He's not ready yet. I think he's going to later than sooner he's going to be playing, which is unfortunate.
Okay. So do you think by the end of the year we're going to see, you think for sure we're going to see?
I hope so. I mean, the latest update from Billy was that, everything's great. He's actually making progress. He's running in water. So take that for what that's worth. You're running in water, in November. Are you going to be playing come, I don't know, playoffs maybe after All-Star break? I don't know.
Do you think they're a playoff team though? I mean, I think they are right now.
I think looking at the East, their playoff team, the East is freaking stacked. Cleveland is insane. A lot of fun to watch there. Super long team. That's the thing I struggle with is looking like a franchise like Cleveland, who's had so many number one overall picks. They've had LeBron. They've lost LeBron. They've been the worst team in the league, and now they're back. Like, they're a team that builds it up and tears it down. The Bulls.
Do you like that? Or you prefer the sustained success model that the Bulls try to emulate?
I mean, the Bulls just completely fucked it up with Garpax. They were trying to tear it down, but they didn't fully tear it down. So they kept getting bottom out of like seven. We had the 7th pick 3 years in a row, and some of that was lottery balls bouncing the other way, and it was just demoralizing and defeated the whole franchise. It sucked.
Yeah.
And now we're where we just maxed out a player off ACL that doesn't look healthy, and it's just like, God damn it! Like,
Pat, can't catch a break.
Pat, we really need you. We really need you to start putting up those 25s, like Evan's saying. All right. Anyways, let's talk fantasy football, man. I'm sick of it because my team stink. But go ahead, give us how's your team doing?
Where do you
How
think
you feeling?
Where do you think you went wrong? I think what are you, an 8th in our league of record?
Yeah, where I went, it's a tight end position. I drafted Kyle Pitts early, like 5th, 6th round, and he stinks.
I think this is a common thing. I think for a lot of people, a lot of listeners out there that took Kyle Pitts, they're probably in your same position.
I think a lot of listeners that drafted any tight end besides like Travis Kelce, like the tight ends stink this year. They absolutely stink. You're probably like you're streaming, you're recycling, you're looking for players. Maybe Hawkinson's going to catch on in Minneapolis, or Minnesota, excuse me. But if you don't have Kelce, man, it's a rough world out there for tight ends. I'm holding on the Waller, man. That guy's been out since week five with a hammy, and I'm just like, come back and be dynamic, please.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he comes back. He's been practicing the last couple of weeks, it looks like, but keeps getting ruled out.
Last 2 weeks, he did 2 full weeks of like a 50-50 participant in practice for 2 weeks.
All right. Well, I got some waiver wire pickups for you, Dan. I'm going to start with the tight end position just for you.
Appreciate it.
Greg Dulcich is going to be somebody that I want to mention here. The Broncos were on bye. They're coming back. He's looked fantastic the first 3 games with Russell Wilson. I would grab him. Cade Otton is Tom Brady's new tight end, his new red zone target. I would look for him as well. And then Cole Kmet, 2 touchdowns with Chase Claypool drawing some coverage. Maybe Cole Kmet's going to be back in the fantasy picture. He's on the field like 90% of the time.
Maybe.
So I like him too. So those are some tight end pickups for you. QB, if Justin Fields is out there, he's available in 30% of leagues. It looks like you got to grab him. Geno Smith, another guy who's just been an absolute stud this year. He's 78% owned, so he's out there in some leagues as well. If you need a quarterback, look for those guys. Jeff Wilson Jr. was traded to the Dolphins and has taken at least 50% of the work here already from Raheem Mostert. Him and Mostert are going to be splitting the rest of the year. He knows the playbook. He knows McDaniel. He looked great. I mean, he was only there for a week and he was already getting implemented like that and playing really fantastic. I would grab Jeff Wilson if he's out there. He's available in over 50% of leagues. Gus Edwards is going on by now. He was hurt this last week, didn't play. Kenny Drake had a huge game. But Gus Edwards seems like he's going to be that number 1 guy when he is healthy. They said he should be back next week. He's probably out there on your waiver wire as a result of them going on by. So I'd look for him. If you need handcuff running backs, because it is cuffing season, I would say it's towards the end of the year here. Cuffing season. Dontrell Hilliard is Derrick Henry's. Jalen Warren is Najee's handcuff, and Rashad White would be Leonard Fournette's. I think those 3 guys are great handcuffs for those stud running backs. And then Kyron Williams, we've talked about him a couple of times. The Rams just do not know how to run the football, and I don't know if that's because their running backs are terrible. But Kyron Williams, when he comes back, when Kyron Williams comes back, they're going to see what he's got for sure. And he was a great Notre Dame player, I believe, and he's going to get an opportunity there. It's should be a good offense. I think it's worth stashing him, see what you can get. Wide receivers, Mecole Hardman has been on a tear. The last 2 games, he's got 4 touchdowns. He's had 2 rushing, and he looks like a red zone weapon. He's only 49% owned. I would look for Mecole Hardman for sure. I think he's gone over 12 points 4 weeks in a row. Odell Beckham should be coming back soon. He's a guy that might be out there. You can stash him. I don't know when he's going to be cleared to return, but it should be within
Jones said he'll look good in a Cowboys jersey.
4 weeks. Yeah, a lot of teams have been trying to recruit him, so he's going to go somewhere good. He's got his pick wherever he wants to go. Harris Marshall is another name in deep leagues, as well as Donovan Peoples-Jones. A couple guys who have been really good the last couple weeks. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I think, is especially interesting with Watson returning in week 13. So you could see maybe he has a good connection with him instead of Amari. Who knows?
Yeah.
But with Watson coming back, you never know what's going to happen in Cleveland. And then if you need a defense, I like the Giants this week and the Titans. The Titans play Denver. So
solid.
A couple pickups there for you.
There it is.
All right, Dan, week 10. Let's do your picks.
I do know how I did last week, and I want to preface I did 8-5, but
pretty good.
Listening back, I did pick the Dolphins right away. I said Fins up, and then went back to the Bears. So if I picked the Dolphins, if I would have kept that pick, 9-4, which is a best week of the season. So I think we're making some headway here. What do we got this week on week 10? What's on the menu?
Well in his way. All right. Thursday night game is Atlanta at Carolina. That's going to be a stinker.
A mess. But you know how I love the Falcons, baby. Atlanta.
Cordero Patterson's back too. He looked really good. Seattle at Tampa Bay.
Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to actually roll off a couple wins here.
All right. Vikings at Bills.
Is Josh Allen playing? Is owner collateral ligament partial tear?
I'm concerned about him, but it sounds like he's going to play through it at this time.
What's that matchup again?
Vikings at
Bills. I think Vikings got that one.
All right. Vikings have been hot. Detroit at Chicago.
Bears.
Jacksonville at Kansas City.
Chiefs.
Browns at Dolphins.
Miami. Fins up.
Texans at Giants.
Giants. G-Man.
Yeah, Giants are legit. Saints at Pittsburgh. It's going to be a bad one, too. Saints are looking pretty bad.
I feel like the Saints need to make that change
really
back to they need to go put Jameis back under center.
Yeah. Broncos at Titans.
Broncos. Titans look so bad without Tannehill.
Yeah, they almost beat the Chiefs though. Almost beat the Chiefs the other night
because they stink. They had like 4 passing yards. It was terrible.
Colts at Raiders.
Dude, how about Jeff Saturday just like coaching high school football and being like, hey, Jim Irsay calls him up. Hey, you want to coach an NFL team? He's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Sure. But it's Colts Patriots, you said?
Yeah.
Patriots.
I think I read Frank Reich's gonna be making like 200K a week until 2026 or something. Like he
It's
had
got
so
the
many years left on his deal and he's just
Bobby
paying him.
Bonilla deal. Love it.
Yeah. Cowboys at Packers.
Cowboys, Packers stink.
Cardinals at Rams.
Cardinals. Rams are frauds. So are the Cardinals, though. But Cardinals,
Chargers at 49ers.
Niners, coming off a
All
bye.
right. Then the Monday game is going to be Commanders at the Eagles.
Eagles are going to destroy them.
Okay. I thought you were going to call the upset there. All right.
No.
Those are your week 10 picks. And I'm going to hit you with a fast fact before we get out of here.
Let's do it.
Justin Fields set the single game regular season rushing record with 178 yards, topping Michael Vick's 173-yard performance. What year was Michael Vick's 173-yard performance? When was the last time we saw something like this, Dan? What year?
It was probably like he was on the cover of Madden in like what, 2005? So what was it? Probably like 07?
2002. So 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. It's been
Long
20
time
years
ago.
since we've seen something like this. I mean, that's why I think Bears fans are so excited. This was so incredible. And it's a good week. We're going into a game with the Lions. I think they should be the favorites in that one. So
Let's go.
excited
Bear
about it.
down.
Bear down. Thanks again for joining us today. For Dan Selleck, I'm Evan Bierman. You've been listening to the Domestic Draft Podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to rate the show. You can find us on Twitter at Domestic Draft, on Instagram at Domestic Draft Podcast. Our website is domesticdraft.com. And you can watch the show on YouTube. Just search up Domestic Draft and drop us a sub. Thanks again for listening. Cheers.
Cheers.